This session is titled Country Leadership. We will hear from both developing countries and emerging economies who are leading the way on these critical issues. They will share the challenges they face, the steps they are taking, and how international financial support can help speed up the progress on the SDGs. To start this important conversation, we are honored to have Dr. Rafael Dubeux. He is the Vice Minister in the Ministry of Finance in Brazil. He holds a PhD in international relations and has held several positions in the Brazilian public administration. Now, Mr. Dubeux is head of special advisory to the Minister of Finance of Brazil and leads the Ecological transformation plan within the ministry. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Rafael Dubeux.
Good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to be here today and would like to thank Norad for the invite and congratulate it for organizing such an inspiring event. I am excited to share with you a bit of what Brazil is doing about what we call the Ecological transformation plan to promote sustainability and at the same time foster economic development. I will split my presentation in three parts. First, I'll very briefly introduce you about Brazil and its role in the climate arena. Then I will talk about the more than 100 measures that we are implementing in the ecological transformation plan. And then I will talk about some concrete possibilities of partnerships that we all could do together in that area. So beginning with Brazil, it's important to mention that Brazil has a huge role in most of the debates in the world, especially regarding climate, because first of all, it has a huge territory, it's the 5th in the world, a huge population, the 7th in the world, a huge GDP, 9th in the world, and most of all, in terms of biodiversity, Brazil is not only a G20, but maybe a G1, since we have about 20% of all the biodiversity in the world, not only with the Amazon, but with the other biomes in Brazil. In terms of energy generation, whereas in most of the world, the generation of renewables represent something around 30% of the total electricity generation, in Brazil, it's about 90%. And what's more important, there is still a lot of room to keep growing the capacity of generating more renewable power in Brazil. The same thing applies for fuel. Brazil also stands out as a huge, one of the major producers of ethanol, of biodiesel, and we can still do even more with sustainable aviation fuel, with biobunker, and so on. In terms of the critical minerals necessary for the energy transition, Brazil also has huge potential with big reserves of lithium, rare earths, nickel, and many other necessary minerals for the energy transition. Beyond this, and I think it's important to say it, in Norway that also stands out as a country with a peace diplomacy that is core to Brazil. We don't have any big issue with any of our neighbors, actually with any country in the world. Brazil has been a strong proponent of a peace diplomacy, of multilateralism, of economic development, mostly for the whole world. And this also is an opportunity for the country to develop all those initiatives related to climate. Of course, it's not all great. We have big challenges. Our per capita income is still below what it could be. We have huge inequalities in the country. And of course, economic development for many years was coupled with environmental destruction, and we have to make this uncoupling. That's why Brazil developed what we are calling the Ecological Transformation Plan since the beginning of President Lula's administration in 2023. And what is the Ecological Transformation Plan? Beyond all the efforts that the government is doing related to macroeconomic stability, related to improving the business environment, we think this is not enough to have what we really want as a new path for development. Therefore, the Brazilian government, President Lula, Minister Haddad, announced this plan organized around three main objectives. The first of which is promote productivity and good jobs. So it's not only a plan to decarbonize the economy, but it's really a plan of economic development with sustainability. The second objective is to decouple economic growth from environmental impact, and we know it's doable. And the third, considering the huge inequalities that plague our country historically, we have to have a strong emphasis in reducing inequalities in Brazil. We organized more than 100 different initiatives with the participation of many different ministries in Brazil, civil society, private sector, and of course it's impossible to talk about all of them here, and I want just to highlight a few of them that are organized around these 6 pillars that, as you can see, cover mostly all the economy, and it's pretty much ambitious and pretty much intense. It involves channeling money with the sustainable finance measures. It involves bioeconomy. It involves energy. It involves a lot of technology innovation. It's core to the plan. It involves circular economy and, of course, adaptation. So just to bring you some examples of what we are doing, it was approved last year the creation of a compliance carbon market in Brazil, a cap and trade system similar to the ETS here in Norway. Brazil issued 2 times already sustainable bonds, and we raised in each one of them $2 billion that were channeled to the climate fund that offers low interest rates for projects that are associated with the ecological transformation. Brazil is also developing a sustainable taxonomy in Brazil with environmental and social aspects that are being considered. And finally, Brazil created a program called Eco Invest Brazil, focused on creating a currency hedging for investors that want to go to Brazil and are concerned about the volatility of the currency. So we create this program to address this issue, but you are only eligible to get this program if it is an investment in green projects. It's important to mention that all these efforts come together with the reduction in the deforestation rate in Brazil. So it shows that it's not incompatible to promote economic development and reduce deforestation. On the contrary, since President Lula took office in 2023, the deforestation rate in Brazil fell by about 50% in the first year of government, and an additional 20% in the second year of the government. And our goal is to get to zero illegal deforestation by the end of this decade. But, thank you. Repressive measures alone are not sufficient. We have more than 20 million people living in the Amazon only. So we have to create a new model of economic development that allows people to thrive, allows people to have good jobs, and at the same time, protect the environment. That's why we're investing in biotechnology, we are investing in forest concession, we are investing in attaching sustainability requirements for farmers who get loans with subsidies from the government for agricultural investments. We are creating a huge program that we call the Restoration Arc, exactly in the area of the south of the Amazon, where we had the Deforestation Arc, and we're changing it to become a Restoration Arc. So it's huge programs that are being implemented, not only to protect it with repressive measures, but also to promote development. And finally, on the energy sector, just bringing a few of the examples of what we are doing in that area, we approved last year a new legal framework for low-carbon hydrogen in Brazil, with tax incentives focused on innovation in that area. The Fuels of the Future law about mandatory blending of ethanol, biodiesel, sustainable aviation fuel, and many other necessary fuels for the energy transition. And the program focused in mobility with a lower environmental impact. All this brings us to possibilities of concrete partnerships. And I just want to highlight a few of them. The first is the TFFF, the Tropical Forest Forever Fund, that we are discussing with the support of many other countries in the world, including Norway, so that we can have this global fund to protect environmental forests, not as donations, but really as investments. Brazil developed this Brazilian investment platform that that hosts different projects, investments in Brazil associated with the ecological transformation, be it critical minerals, hydrogen, reforestation, and it's already open with about $12 billion in possible investments in those areas. And finally, there is the possibility of power shoring, of allocating industrial value chains in areas where you can use renewable power with a vast amount of renewable energy available, as you can have in Brazil. So all of this shows us the possibilities that we can have to promote, at the same time, sustainability and economic development. And I can tell you that we are welcoming, with open arms, like Christ the Redeemers, everyone who wants to make partnerships in Brazil. That's not only a win-win situation, but it's a triple win situation. You can make money, you can help economic development, and at the same time, we help to create a global, sustainable economy. Thank you very much.